We are with an architect of living light, and we are in for a special frequency transmission today. Vox Angelus Deus is with us today. She's formerly known as Phyllis Douglas, but she has been working with the Elohim, and she is the embodied seraphic expression of we as one Elohim. Let's meet Vox Angelus. Hi, Vox. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on.
You did a light language summit here on New Earth One, and that was filled with so much love and light and information and wisdom. And we're so grateful for all the work that you do here. Let's check in with you because you've been working with the Elohim. Can you share with us how they came to you and now they're really putting you on a mission to assist the energetic architecture of what's happening on planet Earth. How exciting. What a mission.
Yeah, my true nature is Seraph, and I finally kind of owned up to that. They've been telling me that all my life. But I've been surrounded by angels since I was a little girl, and they've always served as my well, kind of extended family. They were my friends, they were my protectors, but most of all, they had been my teachers. And when I was growing up, there wasn't anything for me to reference. There weren't any people that were doing anything similar to what I was doing, being raised, strictly religious in church. And so they provided different experiences for me as I was growing up. And I've realized everything that I've experienced is really a form of preparation for things to come within my future. It was like building blocks. And so eventually, the light language came in, and just that I had little packets of knowledge periodically throughout my life that assisted me in understanding kind of what was going on, and who and what it was I was becoming. And so there was a growth process that they assisted me with. So one of the key things in my asking and kind of what has been going on since, I used to do a lot of sound healing work with gongs and singing bowls. I still have them. You can see the bowls in the background and everything. But it began to primarily go into the vocalizations that I was making, because I have always sung. I have spoken light language periodically since I was a little girl, and my parents just thought it was a made up language. But I've always spoken to the angels in that way, and it just wasn't anything that I ever thought about that was different from everyone else, until the time came that I realized I was different than other people. And so I just kind of stopped talking about it. And so eventually my vocalizations, my voice started to come in, the light language began to come in. And it became, along with the realization of my origins, along with my spiritual connection, along with my relationship with Elohim, which is a collective of which I belong, they began to tell me more and more about why I was here in this lifetime. And the key thing before we get to kind of the architectural aspect of the work that I do, the key thing is really facilitating or assisting people in the understanding that they are God, source, creator in physical form. That is the key understanding. The second thing is really about how powerful, when you understand that, when you recognize it, and that remembrance comes forward, it's revealed from within, that you are so powerful. You are the creators of your own life. So that is the key thing. And then my real mission kind of came forward, and they're like, well, you are the architect. Because in my work, when I am doing my transmissions, when I am working one on one with people energetically, I see a holographic uh, architecture. It's a physical and an energetic architecture. So if you've ever seen the movie Doctor Strange, where they caps they do that and they have this the whole matrix kind of in red shows up. That's pretty much what it is that I see for physical beings, but also places, things, circumstances that are happening in the world. So for me, I have an understanding or recognition or remembrance of what the divine template looks like, what the soul architecture, what it's supposed to look like. And I can see then within the architecture of the clients that I work with where the distortions lie, where they are out of misalignment. And so through the work that I do, through the light language, the frequency work, it is all frequency based, that I can alter the frequency, the distortion, to bring them back into divine alignment. So we don't pay attention to how, people always recognize, oh, pain, I have pain, I have a headache, my leg hurts. Those are symptomatic of something going on in the body. They are symptomatic of an imbalance. They are symptomatic of an alteration in frequency. So the interesting thing for me that was very difficult initially was to switch from the focus on story, on what the perceived happenings of my client, to help fix that, to transform that into this whole thing where the story doesn't matter. That is your story. That is the story that you have created based upon what is occurring energetically, physically, right? We have these stories. We have these filters, the old paradigm filters. And I can go to what generally is called the assemblage point. So the assemblage point is the filter upon which we view our reality, and it's built upon our belief systems, how we grew up, our patterns, familial, political, societal, religious, all of that, right? It builds how we view our world. And how we view our world is then our thought processes and how we react to our world. But in a sense, a lot of that, we are really in enslavement to our beliefs. And our beliefs then are the construct within which we build our world, build our reality, but also more often than not, our reality isn't something that is our will or God's will. It is the will of others, right,
Um,
that are telling us how we need to be in the world. Right? They have expectations for us of how we are to live our lives, who it is that we are to become, how it is that we are supposed to act. When in truth and reality, we take ownership of that, and that can be considered self-will, right? We decided that's the way it's going to be. But when we're talking about our true soulful awakening and our ascension within physical form, we are then speaking of God's will, which is us. And it's a hard thing to kind of wrap your mind around, because then you're like, well, who am I? So, we'd like to share that when you come into physical form, your soul essence, that higher essence is wanting to experience life in physical form, but not to be identified by the experiences. I'm a mother. I experienced being a mother. I experienced being a spiritual teacher, right? I experienced being a daughter. That was an experience that I learned from. And I I love that experience. I desire to experience that. But it doesn't define me. It doesn't make me a mother. It doesn't make me a spiritual teacher. It doesn't make me a daughter. Those are what I choose to experience in life. So when we allow life to define us, that's when we become locked into a framework that was never meant for us to experience. We were never meant to experience life in that way because our experiences are part of our our own divine nature, our divinity, to create those experiences because we want to experience those things. There are certain things that we want to learn. And when we get locked into an experience and we take ownership of that and it defines us, we have a very difficult time moving on from that experience. And often we carry those negative experiences with us as if that is who we are. So we
Mhm.
really want to drive into humanity that you are not supposed to be owned by your experiences. You are creating your lifetime. You are powerful. You can create your lifetime just simply through pure intention, desire, and focus. So when I go into session, when I'm doing transmissions, I see this overall architecture, holographically speaking. It can be an individual, it can be groups. It can be the theme around a group so that everybody is lending their energies to that architecture. So I can see where it's unstable. I can see the instability. I can see the distortions, what those distortions are based upon. But I don't even need to act upon what the distortions are based upon. I just simply need to counteract it by creating balance, by balancing out the frequency, by bringing that frequency to where it's supposed to be. That can be higher or lower. But when I do that, I'm facilitating change. And I'm facilitating that change within you. I'm facilitating that change within the world. Because when the frequency changes, it's noticed. It changes everything else. It starts to either disassemble or unravel what needs to be transformed because it can no longer exist with that change that has taken place, that realignment that has taken place. So you can see from that it's all about frequency and it's not really about what's occurring, what's happening, because that in itself will be reformed. I should say recreated in some way, shape, or form because the frequency is no longer aligned with that. And it's aligned with this. It's aligned with the divine frequencies, the divine codes that have always been there. And that is what facilitates change. That was a lot. Okay.
I absolutely love it. And so the frequency change is really um, presence, would you say? Because if we're not dealing with the story or those belief systems, it really is presence. And that right there is how we shifted. Would you agree to that? What keeps people from owning this frequency? It's our thoughts, it's the stories,
Our thoughts, our stories, our beliefs, our fears.
our fears.
Yeah.
So we really have to just go into 0 point or divine alignment. How do you define divine alignment?
Well, we don't use we don't use terminology in that sense like 0 point because the average person doesn't know what that is.
Right.
And a lot of people could take exception to divine alignment because they don't understand that either, right? It's really, yes, it's really about, it really is about allowing yourself to be present in the moment, allowing yourself to be in the knowledge that you have the capability to create your own life. So what does that mean? Creating our own life is going to be, it's going to be about our desires, right? It's going to be about our truths. It doesn't have to be someone else's truth. It's about what do we ourselves understand to be true. Notice I don't use the word belief for myself because when I look at a belief, there's it can be positive or negative. Either way, it's a box. When you have a belief, you are locked into something. You are locked into that belief. If you just claim that I have things that I understand to be true for me, it can be momentary because in the next moment, when something comes along and you hear something, you're like, oh, wait, I resonate with that more than I resonate with what's here. And you're not in a box, so you can easily shift. So I like to get rid of the word believe in most connotations, right? And look at that as this is what I understand to be true. So sway me, right? What happens in life can move and groove and shift you, so that life becomes more of a dance, right? And you can be the choreographer, you can choreograph the dance, and then the dance itself might shift and you go, ooh, this is moving too fast for me, this is moving too slow for me, I don't really like this dance any longer, right? It allows you to shift into a new dance, so to speak. You like that analogy? And so I look at life as creating a work of art. Right? So you have all these different mediums that you can work with. You can mold, you can paint. Right? And so you're creating life as this beautiful work of art. And quite frankly, there might be this happy aspect to your art, and there might be this sad aspect of your art, but it's all art. And when you think about it as being art, when people create real, true art from their heart, something that is flows through their mind, and you go and you look at this art in a museum, it's there to elicit a response to not only self when you created it, but it's to elicit a response to those who see it. And they're like, oh, wow. They're looking at this. It's radiating. It's meaningful. Nowadays, when you look at art and a lot of AI creations, it doesn't have that same sense to move you in that way. So I really like for life to be this beautiful self created art, this masterpiece that I can look back on, in my final days and say, I did good. This is truly a beautiful standalone piece of art. And when I look at it, the immensity, I'm getting teary-eyed. the,
I
the,
know, me
immen-
too. Me too.
the immensity of it, the truth lived of it, the emotions. Wow, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, no,
But
I was, I mean,
it's okay. But
because we
you
judge it, we're judging it. We're like, are we doing it right? Are we doing it good enough? But
and
it's
we
all
are
good.
always
It's all
enough.
good. It's all
It's
good.
all good. And a
The
lot
good,
of
the bad,
people
and the
look at that.
ugly. The good, the
Yes,
bad, and the ugly,
but
right?
it's honest. It's authentic. It's true. So then maybe we could cry. But it just hit me too that wow, so much of life, external life right now, isn't in alignment with my truth. But that doesn't mean that you cannot honestly and authentically live that truth, because the more that you do that, the more love and light that you are radiating outwards into life from your own understanding of your own truth is then facilitating a change in those closest to you. and they carry that wave of expression, that wave of truth, and that just frequency, right? And they begin, it has a ripple effect out into the world through all, from, starting from the people that were within your closest circle. So a lot of people get so caught up in what is happening in the external world, our political system,
Yeah,
things
I
that are
was going to say,
happening within our
every,
culture, things that are happening within religion. And
yeah, it's
I
really
had
important right
to,
now. It's really important right now what you're saying, and I'm glad you're bringing this up. I'm sorry to interject because this is on everyone's mind. When you watch what seems like a shit show on the planet, it it can throw us for a loop. But what you're saying is stay the course, stay true to your compass of self and have deep, deep faith, right? Have deep, deep faith. Don't let that be out there. Know that what we're doing here is very powerful, right?
that's exactly it. And also know that what you're seeing out in the external world has to happen. You can't, everything out in the external world, the old paradigm, the old beliefs are they're being dismantled. And so when they're being dismantled, there are those that are fighting against that because within themselves there's fear. There's fear of loss of power. There's fear of loss of financial gain. There's fear of being right. All right. There's fear of losing your following and so forth. But the thing is, that fight, that juxtaposition has to occur. The dismantling, the unwinding has to occur. So that's what we're seeing nowadays. That's what we're seeing out in the external world. So we can't get caught up in it. We can't take ownership of it because ultimately we don't have anything to do with it. We, us, this person here. And so we can only kind of sit back and witness because we have to hit the bottom of the curve or the bottom of the barrel before we can climb back up. And that's really what's happening. There's so much light out there right now that there's so much that's being brought into our reality for the assistance of humanity to help facilitate our awakening, our enlightenment. I always say I am enlightenment, our ascension and form, right? Because the rest of the universe cannot ascend, cannot make that shift until we here on Earth, enough of us begin to make that shift. Part of what's happening in the external world is just serving as a distraction, and in many cases, meaningfully so, right? In our government, what's happening in our government, what's happening on social media, and a lot of that has to do what's happening in social media, deception, a lot of it has to do with AI. But not to pinpoint, there's good things about AI as well, but the deception, the deceit, the negativity, the the untruths that they're attempting and are being successful in most cases they're trying to interject that, they're trying to interweave that back into uh our society, our world. And at the same time, the light is like, oh no, as I'm doing it, I'm disassembling, unweaving, right? And holding it at bay. So this is happening like right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. Because it feels with watching it like we're going backwards. It's like you've got to be kidding me. But again, I just want to reiterate that you say it has to happen so that we as each individual can choose yes or no, right? Good, that's bad. Or
Correct.
what is your take on this?
In some instances, it's really there needs to be a choice, right? And there's this there's a separation kind of that's happening within humanity as well, because some people don't want to choose this, some people like this, right? And it's all free will, and people are free to do as they wish, right? But there will be a dimensional separation that's occurring. And so you have to make a choice of whether you're gonna stay on the train that's going in that direction, or you're gonna stay on the train that's going in this direction, right?
And it comes down to love or fear,
Love or
or is there
fear.
something else? Is that it? Is it as simple as
Ultimately,
that?
it comes down to love or
Or
fear,
fear.
because fear makes us do certain things to try to create balance within our life, to try to create stability, to try not to be afraid, right? To try to have security. But love can do that as well. But a lot of people that are stuck in the old paradigms, the old belief systems and so forth, they can't see that. They might see light, they might dabble in spiritual things, right? But they never make, there's a tipping point. Like, are you gonna, you're wobbling here, are you gonna fall over or the cliff in that direction, or are you gonna go back from where you came? And I've seen a lot of people go back to where they came from because they're more comfortable with what's familiar, even though they don't feel good there, versus being uncomfortable with what is unfamiliar. And it all stems from the fact that they do not understand the truth and the beauty and the power that resides within them to create change within their own lives, which ultimately will create change within the entirety of our world, which will create our new earth.
Thank you. That is so beautiful. And so we need to really get comfortable with the uncomfortable and get familiar with the unfamiliar. So that's it. We need to embrace the unfamiliar and the uncomfortable because that is the limitless possibilities. That's where we can do anything. We can choose anything, right? Expand on this topic, this notion a little bit.
We do not, okay, the we are in present moment now, and that's truly, people don't realize that present moment now is all we have,
It's
because the
always
future,
here.
it's always here and it's all we have, literally, because the future is unlimited potentiality and it doesn't exist yet. There's all kinds of things there that you can magnetize to you as you move forward in your experiences, because you want to experience that. But you can't work towards it. You have to be it right now. You have to be of that vibration, of that mindset, of that truth, of that emotionality, that of connected to what it is you desire to bring into your present moment, because this is who I am, this is who you are, this is who people are right now, until you make a change in frequency. Vibrational frequency is everything, because your vibrational frequency is magnetizing the future to you as you are in this present moment. Now, the past has already happened, it's complete, it's here. The brain that we hold on to things from the past, but the past doesn't exist any longer. We have this present moment now to recreate ourselves, to rebirth ourselves, to be something else other than who it is we were. And when we change our frequency, even minutely, let's say you put your pants on before you brush your teeth, and you usually brush your teeth before you put your pants on. You are minimally already creating a change in frequency that your brain is like, wait, I'm supposed to be brushing my teeth, because we create these patterns in our lives. So it's really about repatterning our existence to be able to move towards, to be able to create, to be able to magnetize that which we desire in our life now. And a lot of people say, but I'm not a millionaire. Right now, I'm not a millionaire. No, you're not a millionaire, but you want to have that millionaire mentality. You want to at least have that millionaire desire, that millionaire thought process, that process of acknowledging how powerful and strong and resilient you are in this present moment, living the way that you are within this present moment, because that is the mentality of someone who's a millionaire.
Yes, all right. That is a perfect example. How would we change our frequency? How do we do that? How do we imagine that we have $1 million? We just imagine that frequency. Is it as simple as that? Or what else is
It's
necessary?
really about, it's not about being that fully, let's see how to shift this. A lot of it comes down to self-worth
Yes. Yes.
and acknowledging that even though you are homeless in this present moment, you don't have to be homeless tomorrow or the next week type of thing. Even though you are blank in this moment, next week, couple weeks, a month down the road, you don't have to be homeless. Right? So part of it is I am homeless, thusly, I don't know why I chose that, but so I am homeless, thusly I'm defining myself with this experience. You don't want to define yourself with this experience because you are divinity in form. And this that you are presently experiencing is just an experience. And this experience comes from experiences that you held in the past that were a cause to be homeless. Right? But that doesn't define you as being homeless. It just defines your present experience. So if we just state, yeah, I don't really like this experience, even in that statement, you're changing your frequency. When you begin to visualize or envision, well, what is it that I want to experience? You are elevating your frequency into alignment with the frequency of what it is that you desire. Right? We are so powerful that just our prayer and our invocation and our thought processes create the world that we're desiring to live in and the life that we're desiring to live within the world we desire to live in. But a lot of people get so bashed down and that they're in a spot, they're in a position where they don't understand that any longer because people aren't telling them that. And people are like reiterating where they feel that they are, right? Life, the external world is reiterating the way that you feel that you are in this present moment, right? And it's really about being able to go inward and just intuitively to go inward and say, that's the way the world, that's what the world's reflecting back at me. That's what the world is saying who I am, right? But am I really? Do I really inside, does my heart feel like that? Most often when people do that, it's like, hell no,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
it's like being able to step out of that loop and say, I don't want what the external world is showing me. I want what my heart is telling me is mine. Right? And that in itself begins to elevate your frequency. And the more that you can just internally desire and envision what it is that you want, that is elevating your frequency. When you can internally understand that this is what I want, you can be more outspoken into the external world. This is what I want. Tell me how I can get it. Right?
Yes, yes. All right. The connection to the heart. So many of us have shut that down. And when we had tears earlier, that's because it touched something in our heart. And so feeling the heart, coming into the heart, really listening to the heart seems like the key and the road and how we create. And so feeling the heart, creating from the heart, isn't it sad that many are not connected in that way? Do you find that that's the first step?
It really is. It really is the first step because your heart will never guide you or steer you in the wrong direction. But it's also being able to honor that for yourself, right? And in a sense, understand that to be truth. Notice I didn't say belief. I said just to understand that the truth that your heart will never steer you wrong. And some people say, I'm angry, but the majority, the emotions and so forth aren't in your heart. They aren't your heart. They aren't that connection to God's self, the I am presence. That's held within your body. Trauma is held within your body, within your tissue, right? It's not really your heart, but your heart can react to that, right? So it's kind of a fine line where we kind of want to go into this heart coherence and find that balance, like just to elevate the frequency of our heart within us, to speak to our heart. You can speak to your heart because through your heart is that connection to ultimately to God, to source, to creator, to your higher I am presence. There's a doorway within the heart. So you can speak to your higher self, to God, to whatever you want to name it. Speak to your heart, talk to your heart. Tell your heart how it is that you're feeling in any given moment. Tell your heart what it is that you desire. Because through that gateway, it's carrying you into a higher level of understanding and way of being. Even in the situation or circumstance that you're finding yourself in. Because, but then you're changing your vibration, you're changing your frequency, and your frequency, your vibrational frequency is no longer in alignment with where you are in life in that moment. So then something, you don't even know how, but something begins to shift because you can't stay there when you've altered your frequency. You can't. It's a law of the universe. All right. That frequency begets frequency. Frequency becomes a match for frequency. Frequency begins to entrain with like frequency. If your frequency, if you elevate your frequency higher than the frequency of your present existence, you shift out of it in so many ways. And you'll begin, if you stay there, you'll begin to see those changes within your life. It can be small initially, but when you stick with the small and you begin to see that change, there's this like a snowball, right? You know, it's when you roll a snowball or a snowball's rolling downhill and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? That's it's like a snowball. There's a snowball effect that carries you from where you are now to where it is that you closer to and ultimately at where it is that you want to be.
That is so beautiful. It really is. And when we do that work with the heart and when we master that, yeah, we are changing the world. Absolutely. So you are going to be doing a sonic transmission for us, and this is going to
Yes.
fully awaken our heart. Share with us what's going on here with the light language. The light language is absolutely speaking to the heart, bypassing the mind, unless the mind wants to look at it and question what's going on.
Hmm.
Share with us a little bit about that frequency because light language is speaking, it's God tone speaking to our hearts. Is that how you interpret it?
Kind of.
Mm,
It's not, yes, it's God tone, but you also want to understand that it's you.
it's us.
It's you.
Us as
It's you are,
God.
you are, God is you.
God is us.
You are an aspect or individuation of God, the
Mm.
essence of God, desiring to experience life in form. So if you think of God as the ocean, you are but a drop of water of that essence in form. So when you transition from physical form, which is impermanent, you return you return to that essence as God. So when we talk about light language, it means that there is an enlightenment, there's an enlightening, that happens through your effort or your opening, right? Your own inner revealing of truth. You begin then to connect to that, what I'll call the God force. And in that connection, you begin to speak that frequency language. You're translating that energy into form, into sound, right? Into sound frequency vibration. And you are bringing that through you and sometimes out into the world, depending on what it is. But it's also because you've connected with those codes that you're bringing that in, because ultimately that light language is serving you. It's facilitating your awakening. It's a facilitate. Say my name. It's a Phyllis. Okay. It's facilitating within you the more opening up to more enlightenment and ultimately in full embodiment of that force of expression of as God that you are. So that in full embodiment is God working as and through you as I am God, but through me and expressing out into the world. So light language thusly then is also the ability to express that essence of God that is you out into the world. Through that aspect, then there are many beings that are higher, more highly elevated than we are. They speak language of frequency. So as God works as and through us, we have the ability then to connect to all that is God, and that can be other beings that are expressing through us as light language as well. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
It totally makes sense. And I can see that, when we begin to speak it ourselves, we can question it, but it's important to let it flow and not question it. So for those, I know we're going to do a transmission, but for those who have that question, how do we let the light language flow without thinking that we're just making it up, like we're just playing games with our cat, for example? There's something to it. Is there something that you do to center yourself, to bring through the frequencies? It's God frequencies that we're bringing through. And that somehow translates into words. I suppose for some of us, it would be toning. In my case, I think it's toning. I can really do, I feel that with toning. But what if we don't get the words? And for others, it may just be mudras or dance or artwork.
Mm-hmm.
It's different then.
It's it's it is same but differently expressed.
Hmm.
People may never speak it, but you may tone it, you may sing. I do all of the above, I do the art and so forth. It shows up in the way that is most comfortable and expressive for the individual that is receiving it. Right? Ultimately, you receive it for you, solely for you. It's prescriptive in nature when you connect with that. And the more that you allow it through, even just for yourself, the more that it's facilitating your awakening, your healing process, your process of transformation. It is, first of all, prescriptive for you. That is why you hear with different people that it sounds different because it's aligned with who you yourself are. But you can express it in many, many different ways. Now, the brain, until you tell the brain that, until you can tell your brain that this is something real and tangible that you're expressing, your brain will say, you'll have that thought. Your ego comes forward and says, "Oh, you're just making this up." And you have to just kind of say, "Even if I am, it's coming through. So there we go." And you just keep speaking,
Okay.
right? Because
I love that.
that's what our ego will come forward and say, and that is due to old beliefs.
I
And
love that.
because we don't necessarily, we haven't revealed that remembrance of light language within ourselves yet. It's all here. Everything about you is all here. It's all about revealing and remembering it, right? So it's not that, oh, light language is this thing that's just coming through. It's like, it's never heard of it. Right? No, it is actually with you all the time. You always have the capability. It is about recognizing and revealing that from within yourself to make that connection. So everyone who speaks light language has made that connection. Even people in in church that have spoken in tongues, people say it's not the same. It actually is reminiscent of it's the ecstatic connection that they've made to the vibration, the frequency of God. So, but they call it, um, they call it something different, right? They call it speaking in tongues. But when they speak in tongues in church, they're making that connection to the divine, but they are unwilling to recognize that it's that because they still have the notion that they are separate of God. That's why it's just called speaking in tongues, and it's in church. But in essence, it is the ecstatic essence of having connected to the, let's just call it God frequency. Light language then is same but different in that when you're speaking light language, it's that remembrance from within you that you are more than this, right? It's that beginning revealing within you that you are more than this. What is that more? It is a process of awakening that is occurring. And so then it's more language because you acknowledge I'm not separate. I am more than this. I can connect to whatever that more is versus religious experience and fear and separateness, right? So those are the two differences. I don't know why they brought that forward. But so with light language, first of all, it's a prescriptive frequency that's coming through that you then are translating, and however it's translatable for you. It's all beautiful, it's all effective, it can be shared. Right? The more that you do it, the easier that it flows, right? That it comes through, right? Remember, for me, I experience light language as the essence and force of God flowing as and through me, right? The key thing with, I don't really like the word ascension. It's silly because I was having a discussion with Archangel Michael about this, and I was like, why do you call it ascension? Because that's what it was called. Because I'm like, isn't it descension? Like we're like coming down into form. And he's like, well, you are correct. That is that is no, really, ascension is really an archaic term because it used to be about leaving the, trying to disconnect from the ego, leaving, elevating out of the body into this I'm ascended type of thing. But that was not about bringing heaven to earth. That was more about you ascending to God, right? And I was, we had this discussion. I said, how is that helping the world? And he's like, well, it really isn't. That's it. Because you're not bringing heaven to earth. You're elevating self to heaven. So I say it's really about embodiment. This quote, ascension, this enlightenment, is about ultimate full embodiment and expression of God through this form, allowing God that is you to express as you and through you into the world. And so when you're speaking light language, when you're doing all that you do, you want to become that, not just express it. You want to become it, right? You want to fully embody what is expressing through you as you. And that is ascension in form. You become embodied. When you are able to embody it, then you have truly brought heaven to earth, and you're expressing heaven on earth to earth, and humanity as a whole.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And the feeling of that is so rich. That is so rich. We're not ascending. I love we can say ascension, descension, but it really is embodiment. And that is mastery. That's where we are. That's like, it feels like that's where if we look at this year or the times that we've gone through, and it feels like we're going back to revisit teachings. I know many, I've been hearing this from many. It's like we're going back, we're looking at things. We thought we covered that. We thought we studied that already. But when we're going back to it, I'm getting goosebumps right now. When we're going back to it, it's because we haven't mastered it yet. And by not mastering it, we haven't embodied it yet.
Right,
And
and
so
it's
we're
not even,
simply,
yeah, it's not even about mastery though. Let me interject on that.
thank you.
It's about understanding, it's about looking back at things from a higher perception
Mm.
and allowing for deeper understanding of whatever that is. Because let's say
Mhm.
let's say you read the Bible or some spiritual or religious text 10 years ago. You were a different person 10 years ago. So if you go back to read the Bible or biblical text or spiritual text, whatever it is, from this moment, this present moment, you are able to read through it with higher perception and deeper understanding of what is read. And you also have a deeper understanding of truth. It's like, that isn't true any longer, but this I recognize as truth. You cannot believe everything that you read because it was I can't speak. It was constructed in a way that is part truth and part mythology. Everything is, because it's coming through somebody else's own beliefs, or it's coming through the beliefs of the church, or it's at the time, right? And so if you read the Bible from its inception, from the Gospels and so forth, you can see how it's been changed and altered for the times, right? And that wasn't really about humanity, and so it was about people that have power over humanity. Well, we want to change this because we don't want people doing this, right? Or we don't want people believing this. We don't want people understanding this truth. So we're going to mold it around our rules and regulations and so forth. So when you read something, and I will add to that when people write something, it's also going through their own filter, pen to paper, right? Or fingers to keyboard. Right? And so you have to look at it like this came through someone else who has their own beliefs, their own constructs, right? Their own understandings. So then you have to read it and state, what is it that I garner as truth? What like rings my bell? What actually can I feel in my heart? And then you take that and you go with it. So I don't really, you don't have to have mastery of, you didn't come here to master everything, because if you had mastery over everything, then why are you here? You have no more life to live. If I can stand up here and say I have mastered everything, then why am I here any longer? Right?
Right, right.
You can't have mastered everything. Everything is evolving and changing. So if you're stuck in an old understanding or an old methodology, this was another another conversation with Archangel Michael, was about they came and told me that you have to understand, you have to leave behind your old tools. You got to leave all this stuff behind, because you have to understand that everything evolves. Everything evolves. So if you learned a methodology 20 years ago and you're still sticking with it and it hasn't changed, then you have not evolved. And what
Mm,
you were doing with it has not evolved. And that was
mm.
hard for me because a lot of people spent a lot of money, like learning these methodologies and stuff. I had to let it all go because they took it away at one point, because I wouldn't stop. They wanted me to know how powerful I was just through my own intention, and that we learn all of these methods of doing things, all of these techniques, because it awakens something within us. It may awaken our sense of feeling energy, right? And all of this. So, but once you've awakened it, you have it. And so they're like, what are you going to do with that now? Are you going to continue to do something that was brought through by someone else for them that you learned? Or are you going to do something that is aligned with your own gifts and your own understandings and truth, right? We need to take those things as a stepping stone to build and develop who it is we are and what it is we are here to do with the gifts that we've been given. And there's a lot of fear around that because a lot of people say, but okay, this that I can put in a box over here is like a household term. People know what this is. But this, people don't know what this is. But they might do Reiki, that's like Kleenex, it's a household term. But they might not work with the architect who's working with their frequency because they feel comfortable with that. And again, it's like it's the ability to step out of, just to live your life, to evolve, to step out of what is comfortable. Change is not comfortable. But we're not here to be comfortable. But how about if we just decide our discomfort and our fear is excitement, right? So if I feel a little uncomfortable, if I feel a little fear, like, ooh, yeah, I'm like, oh gosh, I must be really excited about this. It changes my whole demeanor. It literally, your brain doesn't know the difference. It literally begins to make you excited about what it is you are about to step into versus being hesitant, fearful, and uncomfortable. Right?
Mm.
So I kind of I'm always choosing to switch things into excitement. Because again, it's the ego that's coming forward and said, you should be uncomfortable with this, right? Remember what happened last time, right? Do you know what can happen? You could die if you proceed forward with that, right? Whatever that is. And so I've learned to say, okay, stroke my ego and say, you know what? I'm not going to die. And I bypass that fear of the saber-toothed tiger leaping around the corner and eating me, right? That's really that old limbic brain thing that we carry forward. But we're not Neanderthal. We're not living back in that time when we had to have that fear, right? Sounds kind of funny, but that's literally where the fear stems from originally. So I just say, gosh, I must be really excited. What does this experience have in store for me? There's an evolutionary process unfolding. Something is unfolding. I'm really excited about it. How is this going to change my life? What is this bringing into my life? Who will I be? And I'm excited to find out. Right?
I love that perspective and I love the excitement of that and just shifting it to that excitement and how good can it get instead of looking at the doubt and the stuff of the past. I love that. You have shifted us just by your words alone. We can feel that. I'm really hoping that everyone is feeling excited. All right. So let's have you adjust our architecture or awaken our frequency a little bit through an alchemical light language transmission. How precious is this? Do you want to say anything about this before you start or just go into it?
We as one Elohim just really wish you to drop fully and completely into the recognition of divine truth. And in this transmission, we are going to offer just some codes that will begin to help you restructure those belief systems that you carry and to help reveal or create an opening within you that you can then begin to experience some form of change, to a new recognition, to remember, to begin to remember the divine truth of who it is that you are and why it is that you are here. Okay. Let me change so that I know where it is. There we go. I'll just ask if you can hear this to make sure. Can you hear that? Ingera mai fundre spinde, cire candatura, bangal nindre stir, gingandra tundre bendra sira handagera, nera kandra stura mur, angarera landra keringe hurungor, ingera mandre stira da mandorenger, ingera tandre stur, mandandre kire marendar, Tera mar, undrastor, eneriam, ingeriam, astundre, ingen cindri, andandra, stor. escuchen, pacer ija ira katutungro, ibera kaya mama escojtandra, ijera maeko, tutundra, ija treki tun, tira kaya escukun, pa are ejun, pa et aire que chandre, no ora kandu jetinde, okora pa chandre iriam, Endera katu. Inga kacera pai ujandara, inga tachunde heur, unga tachera undandara, uga kanchere urandare kamandra, anduje sindera, andore mongore, indere mandore, angore mandore, angore mandere kor, angore mandere, angore mandore, ingore mandore kia. Atiere che baira kukundra pa, itiere indizu kukundra, itia baira kamaya mairo tur, ki gendri tiera ba ikungu, kutiere meniandre kisiere. Ngare ne manara or, ngare mere sare ne renor, ungora renor, ungore. Amare sinde ngeroroe ne sotoro heart to heart. Heart to heart. Abaige titutoiro, Igara Sunday Ur, Dungoris Bitun. We are complete.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vox Angelus. You are singing the angels. You are singing God. That opened my heart so much. And it gave me exactly what I needed today. Thank you. And it's not just me. I hope everyone received their special prescriptive dose there. Wow. You have always moved me with your singing and the angelic tones and the God source energy moving through you. So beautiful. What a gift. What a gift. I could listen to that all day and all night and all year.
Yeah,
Wow.
my own heart was just like, it's like, whew,
Wow.
I needed that today too.
Yeah. Yeah. Tears were just dripping at one point, and just this open heart is the key. That's the point of all of this. And I just want to say, now that we feel it, there's no going back. We know now you've given us a real strong indicator of what a truly opening heart, and I say opening because to feel that opening was where the tears flow. And so that tells us something right there. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Well, beautiful hearts, I hope that you really enjoyed that. You can see and hear and feel the magic of the frequency that comes through the voice of Vox Angelus. And so we have something very special for you. Vox, you have a unveiled ceremonial activation. It's an audio program that will evolve one's soul. Tell us about this.
Well, it's called Unveiled, and it's a ceremonial activation to dissolve illusion and reveal the infinite self. So, in a nutshell, that's exactly what the transmission does, and it comes with a downloadable audio track, and also what is called usually I call it like a soul alchemy symbol, but this is really, that's for private stuff. It's an alchemy symbol that carries the frequency and so forth of the transmission. So you can utilize the alchemy symbol while you're listening to the transmission, but you can also hang it on your wall, because when you hang it on your wall, it's always radiating out this energy, and it helps to really elevate your environment and to clear those things that are not in alignment with the work that you are doing, who it is that you are, who it is that you desire to be, right? But it is about dissolving, helping you dissolve those remaining kind of illusory illusions, right? To be able to really see and witness the reality that we have collectively created around you, and to understand your place within it, but to also what that it reveals the infinite self. We're talking about the God self, right? That God aspect of self. It begins to reveal that from within you. So we call it a living transmission. So it's created to activate that divine essence within you, and to clear any energetic residue that's no longer in alignment with who it is that you truly are, your birthright, your divine origin, and who it is that you are meant to become in this lifetime. Because none of us are here to do nothing, right? We all said, yes, we raised our hand to come into this particular lifetime. And we didn't come into this particular lifetime empty-handed. We came to experience everything that's happening now. So you want to sit back and, I have to sit back sometimes and like, whoa, look what's happening now. Wow, it's a total dismantling that's happening. But everybody who's alive now came into this lifetime. You raised your hand to come in with whatever gifts you were given to help create the change that this world is needing. And that can be just by being who it is you are and being a pillar of light, just radiating light. You don't have to be active in the trenches, so to speak. We need all of that. And yes, there's people active in the trenches. There's people doing this over there. There's people doing this over there. And you can not look at what other people are doing. Be who it is that you are, authentically. And allow yourself not to diminish who it is that you are and the truth that you yourself hold.
That is so beautiful and very powerful. And we can feel the energy behind all of that. And I know that we are going to want to work with that. So I invite all of you watching and listening to consider this. You'll feel it in your heart. If you felt this vibration already, if you love the beauty that you heard in Vox's voice, then please consider this. There is a link in the description on this YouTube video, and the page that got you here also has that available, and it is an immediate download. So we invite you to check it out, to work with it, and to evolve and elevate your frequency. Wow, thank you so much for this, Vox Angelus. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
This has been amazing. When I have the opportunity to do these things, it's so, we all need to be nurtured wherever we are in life. Whatever it is that we're doing, we need fuel.
Yeah.
And this has been, my ability to do this and to share is so nourishing. So I want everyone in closing to really understand that what it is that you are capable of doing and just spreading love light is so nourishing to those around you and just people who need it.
Thank you for opening our hearts today. We feel the shift in the world, and this is so powerful. We won't forget it, and we will move from here with open hearts, and we can see the way the world has changed from this transmission. Thank you, Vox Angelus. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, all hearts, for receiving this love light and allowing your heart light to expand and radiate. Please work with this beautiful tool that Vox has offered us today and make it part of your living library of light and love, and a tool that you can always benefit from and elevate from and evolve from. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Vox Angelus. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.